Dad declared, "It's settled. Your sister gets the luxury SUV. She's got kids." Everyone nodded in agreement. I pulled out the folder. "Speaking of kids, here's what she did with his last car." Uncle Ron gasped. "My name's Simon. I'm 36. I run a mid-sized travel company that builds custom tour for families and small teams. I live out of a backpack half the year, answer emails at airports, and can pack a carry-on in 8 minutes flat. In my family, I'm the organized one, which is code for the person who pays, fixes, drives, and apologizes. I'm the oldest. My sister Tessa is 32 and has 2 kids. Our parents live 20 minutes away. I do Sunday lunches because that's what we've always done. I bring dessert. I bring coffee. I bring the car seats because somehow I always end up driving someone home. That Sunday, I brought a folder, too. It was a thin, ugly, gray folder that didn't match the plates or the fake flowers on Mom's table runner. I put it on the chair beside me and tried not to look at it. I had told myself I wouldn't need it. I had told myself we'd talk like adults. We didn't. Dad waited until the roast chicken hit the table and everyone's mouths were full. Then he tapped his glass with a fork like he was the manager of a hotel conference room. "All right," he said. "It's decided." He didn't look at me. He looked at Mom, then at Tessa, then at Uncle Ron, who was already half smiling like he'd heard the punchline backstage. Dad cleared his throat. "Your sister gets your SUV, Simon. She has kids. She needs the space." The room didn't go silent. It went busy. Nods, small noises. Mom said, "Of course," like we were discussing weather. Tessa's husband, Dan, muttered, "Makes sense." Already scrolling on his phone. Tessa exhaled like a weight had lifted off her shoulders. She never planned to carry anyway. I blinked once, twice. "My SUV," I said just to make sure I wasn't inventing words. "The one registered to my company. The one I used to shuttle clients." Dad huffed. "Company schmoney. It sits in your driveway. Your nephew's stroller doesn't fit in our hatchback. Use your sedan for work." Mom added, "Be reasonable, Simon. You're single, you don't need luxury." Tessa shrugged. "You can afford another one, don't be dramatic." Something in my chest tightened, but my voice came out even. "You decided this without me." Dad's jaw shifted. "Don't start." "Family looks out for family, right?" I said. "Family looks out for family." I reached for the gray folder. "Funny you should mention kids," I said, sliding it onto the table. "Because here's what Tessa did with the last car someone let her borrow." Dan stopped scrolling. Mom's fort paused in midair. Tessa's smile tried to stay on her face and failed. I flipped the folder open. Printed emails, insurance forms, the police report, photos, crumpled hood, bent street sign, the white dust of exploded airbags. Uncle Ron leaned in without asking. He actually gasped when he saw the first picture. "Oh, wow." Tessa's voice went small. "Simon, I didn't say anything else. Not yet." I let the pages sit there in the middle of the table, next to the gravy boat, next to the family story they preferred. I kept breathing in out. I remembered what my therapist said. State facts, not feelings, when they try to rewrite history. I remembered every time I'd swallowed the same kind of sentence. It's decided. I looked at my sister, at my parents, at the hole my silence used to fill. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't rush to fill it. My job looks shiny from the outside. Photos from Santorini, a tag in a client's honeymoon post, the odd flex of a hotel upgrade. The truth is spreadsheets and margins, and waking up at 3 o'clock a.m. to reroute a family because their toddler spiked a fever before a flight to Lisbon. I built the company from a desk in a rental with a squeaky chair and a neighbor who practiced drums at midnight. I did calls on lunch breaks from my old job, then quit and took 2 part-time gigs to keep the lights on. I learned to sell, to negotiate, to apologize with my whole spine. While I was doing that, my family learned one thing about me. I would say yes. "Simon, can you float us until Friday?" Dad would text. "Simon, daycare just raised rates. Can you help?" From Tessa. "Simon, your grandmother's hearing aids." Mom would add like a footnote. I said yes because I remembered when there was nothing to say yes with, because I thought that's what the oldest does. Because I was proud I could. Small things turned into big things. Gas money became a car payment. The car payment became me co-signing on Tessa's compact when she was between jobs. The compact became the SUV because then I was the one between cars after an airport shuttle dented my old one, and the insurance dragged their feet. I told myself the truck would be practical for luggage. It also became the family moving van, the Saturday Costco train, the emergency late-night ride for Dan when he drank too much with the guys. Family looks out for family. Dad would say like a stamp on every invoice I never sent. The worst part, I kept track. I made a quiet spreadsheet. I never showed anyone. Dates, amounts, reasons. I wasn't tallying to collect. I was trying to convince myself I wasn't crazy, that the slow bleed I felt wasn't real. Every ass came with a mood. If I hesitated, Tessa tilted her head. Wow, you've changed. Mom citied, we're not asking for a yacht. Dad's voice got hard after all we did for you. When I got the company's first big corporate client, a software team that needed a retreat in Majorca, my parents threw a celebration dinner. The dessert came with a by the way, your sister's car is on its last legs. Mom said, slicing cake. Maybe the right thing is to upgrade for the kids. Simon knows what to do, Dad said. He's successful. Tessa laughed. You know, I'd do the same for you, she said like she was telling a joke with a happy ending. I bought the SUV not for Tessa, for my work. I liked the safety, the back row for luggage, the way it swallowed the crappy roads near the airport hotels. I let Tessa use it sometimes because there were car seats, because it sometimes is a word that erodes when you don't defend it. Then came the thing I put in the gray folder, a call at midnight. Tessa crying. It's not that bad, she said. It looks worse than it is. A street name I recognized. Sirens in the background, Dan yelling at someone he shouldn't have parked there. He kept repeating as if that made a bent stop sign. Stand up straight. I drove over in my dented sedan. The SUV wasn't ours. It was Dan's friend's car, a loaner. Tessa had clipped a curb, jumped it, and kissed a pole, airbags out, smoke, kids safe at home. Thank God. But the excuse the next day was that the steering fell off. The police were polite. They were also clear. She'd been drinking. The friend's insurance called me because guess who was still the emergency contact on everything? Your family. They said, we figured you'd want to help smooth this. The friend later, it's fine, we're cool with that edge. That means it's not fine and you're not cool. Tessa swore she'd pay the deductible. We'll handle it, Dan promised. I watched the promise float away like a balloon someone let go of on purpose. I checked my spreadsheet and added a new line. I didn't tell my parents about the drinking. I told myself I was protecting her. I told myself it wasn't my job to start a house fire. Little things kept burning anyway. A missing $600 from Mom's vacation fund. Somehow my name ended up on the vendor list for the school fundraiser, and then the donation was my card on file. Dan borrowed my business credit card to hold a hotel, then forgot to cancel. It sat there like a small parasite until my accountant flagged it. Then came the part where I was not invited to my own eraser. I found out from a cousin's Instagram that there was a family planning chat for big decisions. There was a screenshot of a group video call with everyone's face in neat boxes but mine. The caption, teamwork makes the dream work. The next morning, Mom called like nothing had happened. Sunday lunch, same time, she said. Oh, and Tessa's stroller situation is a mess. We'll talk then. That afternoon, I put the folder together. Not to start a fight, but because I was done being the only one who remembered. I printed the police report. I printed the email chain with Dan's friend where I apologized for something I didn't do. I printed my spreadsheet. No speech planned, just done pretending. One thing happened before Sunday. After a staff meeting, Lee, my operations manager, pulled me aside. You've been taking calls in the hallway, she said gently. You disappear. You come back angry or drained. We cover for you. That's not in our job description. I opened my mouth, then shut it. Simon, she said, we like you. We like this company. Stop bleeding for people who hurt you. At home, I looked at the folder. It stared back. At the table, the photos sat between the gravy and the bread basket like an uninvited guest. No one touched the rolls. Dad pointed at the report. What's this? My voice stayed flat. Tessa crashed a friend's car after drinking. Last fall, she told me to keep it quiet. Mom gasped like I'd curse it in church. Don't say drinking like that. I nodded at the folder. Breathalyzers on page 2. Tessa's cheeks reddened. It was my birthday dinner. I was under the limit when I left. The curb was weird. Dan chimed in. The alignment was shot. As if he'd checked it, Uncle Ron whistled low. Those airbag photos, rough. Dad snapped, Ron. Then he turned on me. What's your point, Simon? To shame your sister, we're talking about the SUV. Exactly, I said. The SUV my company owns, the one insured commercially. The one you're handing out like it's pie. Mom leaned forward, hands clasped like a TV host. We're not monsters, we're practical. Kids, strollers, life. Tessa rolled her eyes. This is why you're single. You care more about papers than people. I let that slide. I pulled out my spreadsheet, highlighted 3 years. Transfers, Venmo notes, groceries, urgent, kid stuff, soccer fees, a plumber's invoice I paid because he didn't take cards. The total looked like a used sedan. Dad scoffed. What an audit. Families don't send bills. Families don't take what's not offered, I said. But you do. Then you call it my generosity so you can call it entitlement when I stop. Mom's voice turned soft, syrupy. Simon, sweetheart, we're all tired. You're stressed. You're doing well. You can handle it. Tessa and Dan are just starting out. We already helped you. I looked at her. You lent me $400 11 years ago. I paid it back in 2 weeks. Dad's jaw tightened. Watch your tone. Tessa slammed her hand on the table. This is ridiculous. We came to talk like adults. You brought props. I looked at her. You brought a decision. Dan shifted. Look, man, she needs a bigger car. The kids. I cut him off, sliding out the insurance letter with my company's name. Non-permitted drivers void the policy. If Tessa drives the SUV and crashes, especially over the limit, my company's liable. My employees pay, my clients pay. I'm not letting that happen. The room went quiet, not busy still. Dad tried one last time. What kind of brother are you? I met his eyes. The kind who's done being a bank. Mom's voice sharpened. After everything we invested in you? I laughed, soft. In me, you invested in Tessa's birthday parties, Dan's bar tabs, the patio furniture you put on my card. I invested in flights, refunds, emergency hotels for strangers who became repeat clients and keep my team paid. Different investments. Tessa swallowed. So it's a no? It's a no, I said. No SUV. No ambushing my yes, no more silence. Uncle Ron muttered, good for you, kid. Dad's chair screeched as he stood. Walk out with that attitude, don't come crawling back when you need us. I grabbed the folder. I haven't needed you since I learned to cook instant noodles. Tessa's voice broke. You're punishing me for one mistake. I paused at the door. It's not one, it's a pattern where I pay and you call it kindness. This time I brought proof. I sat in my SUV in their driveway for a while, engine off. The quiet where you hear your pulse. My hands shook not from fear, from all the times I didn't speak. Lee texted, how'd it go? I replied. Didn't give them the keys. She sent a clapping emoji. Your 10 a.m. tomorrow is the school travel council. You good to present? I stared at the dashboard, feeling oddly light. Yeah, I'm good. The fallout hit before I left the street. Family group chat still including me, apparently. Mom, your behavior was cruel. Dad, you embarrassed your sister. Tessa, I can't believe you brought that up in front of Uncle Ron Dan. Bro, not cool. I didn't reply. I archived the chat. Then a text from an unknown number. Hey, Simon, Laura, Ron's daughter. Met you at Tessa's last Christmas. Proud of you. Someone had to say it. I didn't know how to respond, so I drove to the car wash like it was a ritual. Vacuumed sand from a client beach day. Wiped sticky fingerprints off the rear window, not from any kid I knew. Reset the seat to fit me. At home, I opened my laptop and did something small but sharp. Removed Mom, Dad, Tessa, and Dan from my roadside assistance contacts. Changed my gate code. Told insurance to update permitted drivers to 1, me. Texted Lee to get company decals on the SUV this week. Make it clear it's not a family car. It's ours, the team's. Mom called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was a performance, hurt, concern, then logistics. The kids will suffer, she ended. When they ask why Uncle Simon doesn't love them, I hope you have an answer. I walked my apartment, touching things like they were new. The second-hand kettle, the couch that held me after a client screamed over a seat map, the framed photo of my team at our first real office party. Tired, proud, a little stunned. The next morning I presented to the school council, focusing on safe travel plans and handling emergencies like a kid swallowing a marble in Madrid. People laughed and nodded. I remembered why I started my business, to help families travel without chaos. A mom stopped me after, saying, Lee says you show up. She handed me a deposit check. My hands didn't shake. Dan texted and called, offering to lease my SUV. Tessa sent a long message accusing me of humiliating her and saying my no makes me lonely. I replied, saying no makes room. Dad called, blaming me for Mom's insomnia and questioning the man I'm becoming. I said yes, and he hung up. Mom made a family group chat without me. Ron shared a screenshot where they discussed a plan B since I'm unreliable. Ron's reply stung and soothed. Plan B is everyone paying their own way like adults. I updated my business. No more free rides for relatives or just this once favors. My accountant said, just stop adding lines. Mia called, whispering an apology for her mom's behavior and thanking me for showing her how to break free. She left the family chat. Tessa didn't crash again but spun a new story in the chat. Simon's selfish, forgot family. I didn't argue. You can't debate someone's survival story. You just step out of it. 2 weeks later, Tessa called from a parking lot, kids fussing, admitting her stroller didn't fit her car. She wasn't asking for my SUV, but for help finding a used minivan. I gave her a rental company contact saying, pay them directly. She thanked me quietly. It wasn't peace, but it was air. Ron met me at a diner and warned me about Mom's planned reconnecting intervention with speeches and nostalgia. "Don't go," he said, "or bring your folder." I laughed, not defensively, but freely. I skipped the event, sent plain flowers with a simple note, and drove to the coast. I watched the gray sea, sipped hot coffee, and thought about family and it's decided. Those words used to crush me. Now my folder, my proof, straightened my spine. Miss Aguilar from the school called, praising my presentation and booking a trip for April. "You show up," she said. I smiled. "I do." Driving home, I passed my parents' street without turning. At home, I drew a line on my spreadsheet. No new entries. I filed the folder away, not hidden, just not riding shotgun. A postcard came from a client family I'd helped in Rome at 2 a.m. Their kid held a huge gelato, and they thanked me for saving their trip. I taped a note to my door. "I don't owe my silence to be loved." That Sunday, I skipped family lunch, made pasta with basil, and watched a movie. Mia texted a photo of her kids in a second-hand minivan, crumbs everywhere. "We did it," she wrote. I sent a thumbs up, a small boundary. "Family looks out for family," Dad says, meaning I owe them. I've decided it means caring for my team, clients, friends who don't send bills, and the man in the mirror who learned to say no.